Good evening, gentlemen. And ladies, of course, that I was looking at that. It's my privilege and pleasure to welcome all in attendance, particularly our elected officials and our city employee, city clerk, to this regularly scheduled city council meeting, which I will officially call to order at 6 p.m.
And the date.
Yes, this the 1st of December 2016. We'll begin with our roll call and would invite our city clerk to perform that for us.
Okay. Andy Wilson.
Present.
Jason Daly. I've received no notification from him.
No notification, and neither have I, and I noticed that his house was completely dark when I left. So his absence would need to be determined to be unexcused, which would require a motion from the council.
I make a motion to consider Mr. Daly's absence unexcused.
You've heard the motion to consider Mr. Jason Daly's absence to be unexcused. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Mrs. Creer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, the motion has carried.
Okay.
Proceed.
Joe Shy.
Present.
Mike Parsons.
Present.
Ruth Creer. Present. And Mayor Smith.
Also present. It appears that we do have a quorum, despite Mr. Dave's absence, so we'll proceed with our agenda, and we'll do so by all rising and participating in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Wilson, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, can I interrupt for just a moment? I'm concerned. I'm hearing a ringing noise, and I don't know if it's my thing. It doesn't appear to be affected when I move my. I'm wondering.
Is it your hearing aid? Is it ringing? Sounds like it's your.
We can. Oh, there you go. You got it. Okay.
I'm having a lot of problems with this here.
Oh, okay.
The hearing aid boy, it hurts my ear.
Well,
Ours too.
yeah, we could all hear it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, can you still hear us okay?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We resolved that problem. We're into problem resolutions here. Now let's proceed with the mayor's report. It will be brief. I was going to mention the wily coyote that is terrorizing our village of Vader, but we've addressed that problem. And, we haven't addressed the turkey problem, but I would leave that to the council in your report. So I'd report that there was some vandalism at Murphy Park. Somebody decided to transport one of our large wooden picnic tables from the black walnut tree all the way down to the Little Falls and proceed to throw it into the creek, where it is, as we last observed, was sitting there but out of reach. So we were going to see if it's still there with the heavy runoff that we've had. But did John, by any chance, check that?
I forgot to ask him. He said he was going to go down and check, and I forgot to ask him about it, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
And they have to be walking in there.
Yep.
Yeah, they had to be walk-in, and it's a very large table, so it had to be more than one or two human beings.
They're heavy.
But we'll keep you advised on that. And that's all I have. So let's proceed with council reports. Any thoughts or observations from council members?
I don't know if I talked to you about it for the date, when I got passed by the police officers the other night.
Oh, well, I was gonna wait actually till the
Oh,
report.
okay.
Yeah, but I do think that you should
Yeah.
inquire about that. All right, well, hearing no other thoughts, let's, oh, yes.
Can we take a moment of silence for the officer that was killed last night?
Yeah, certainly, we've heard the recommendation from a member of the council to take a moment of silence. Would the council opt to engage in that?
Yes.
Okay, I see a confirmation there. So what do you say, we go for 30 seconds beginning now? Thank you. It was more than appropriate, and thank you for suggesting that. We've just concluded a moment of silence in remembrance of the fallen officer from the Tacoma.
Lost his life, yes.
Yes. Another sad commentary on our country, the troubling times that we're in. FBI reports indicate that there have been more police homicides, killings than any year in previous history, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a sorry state of our nation. Let's proceed now with the agenda approval for this evening's agenda. Yes, Mr.
I
Wilson.
move that we approve the city agenda for the city council meeting agenda for 12/1/2016.
Okay, Mr. Wilson has submitted a motion to approve this agenda as it's currently written. And do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Parsons. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Now approval for the minutes from our previous city council meeting and public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from our public meeting and our public hearing from 11/17/2016.
Okay, Mrs. Greer submitted a motion to approve those minutes as they're currently written. Do we have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Mr. Wilson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Voucher approvals, as noted on your agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers for the 1st of November in the amount of $27,857.07. And the end of November, $15,521.14. For a November 2016 total of $43,378.21.
Okay. Mr. Shies submitted a motion to approve those as noted. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Mr. Wilson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay. Hearing none, that motion is carried. Time for our special reports. We'll begin with a report from Deputy Cheeseman from the Lewis County Sheriff's Office.
And I think you have, she printed it off, so you have it.
Yes.
It was a really quiet month, which is good because it's holiday season. So there was 199 citizen contacts. There was only 12 calls total. It was pretty amazing because 8 of those calls were when guys were on duty, and 4 were when they were off duty. The only one crime that we have is just the burglary case, and that one's under investigation. And we had 14 traffic stops, and that's about it.
Okay.
I did talk with the sheriff, and so a couple things, I guess, to renegotiate for next year. I think he said that he would get in contact with you sometime springtime or something like that. The other thing that he brought up is apparently you might want to talk with Prosecutor Jonathan Meyer, because apparently he just made a proposal to Napavine City to take on everything, and I guess it was at a pretty reduced rate. So whether you're interested in that he may be willing to talk, because he's interested in doing that. So
Now, what was that
that's the
again?
prosecutor
Oh, I
for
see.
taking on. I mean, and I know you're with Winlock Municipal Court. Napavine also uses Winlock Municipal Court,
Yeah.
and so he made a proposal to have them come back to the district court and have the prosecutor handle everything.
Oh,
So, if you wanted to find out what that proposal was or talk to him, just get a hold of him at the prosecutor's office. So,
okay, you'll
And then
definitely do that.
yeah,
Interesting. Okay, I know we had a councilman.
Yeah,
who had a
yeah, we
question.
Yeah, so the other night, I was driving down the freeway, 2 sheriffs went by me very fast, and I just got a warm feeling in my heart knowing that you guys put your lives at such risk when we call you all the way out here in Little Vader, and I just want to say thank you for that.
and you know the thing is you don't know what the call is, so you have to go as if it's the worst call that could possibly happen. And,
Yep.
and then when you get here, it may not be that bad, but at least you know, because the county's so big. And
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's such a long place, long ways to travel, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
yes, we're just continuing evidence of the responsivity of your sheriff's department and the officials in it. So thank you for that.
I sort of wanted to leave off with, since you did your budget deal, that maybe I was planning on in January, giving a good total of the whole year and maybe some past years and stats and everything like that. Because I know you guys probably don't, now we're doing all of your NIBRs and stuff like that, which is the National Information Record System stuff that goes out through all that. So I'll do all that, but if there's anything that you think that we need to do better, or anything that you want to see or anything like that, then gives you a month or so to talk about it or
Okay.
think about it. And then I know we haven't had any complaints, or I should say animal complaints about our certain person lately, and so that has remedy stuff. And then so yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I should note that for the council's edification, that I was approached by an individual who indicated that there was an individual in our community who's got a marijuana grow operation that we've become aware of, that I've confirmed would be in violation of our city codes, ordinances. And so I'd remind all present that currently our ordinance prohibits any, or we currently have a ban on all medical and recreational use of marijuana growing operation.
Yeah.
Any.
Yeah.
of it.
So does the county still too. The county does still. It's only Chehalis is the only one in the county that has it
Is that
open.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we will ensure that we provide any such information we receive to the Sheriff's Department for their action. This is a matter of public information. Thank you again. Okay, let's now, we had scheduled to have a special presentation from Mr. Devin Jackson of AKS Engineering relating to a TIB grant approval. But I don't see him present, so anticipating that, I was going to give considerable accolades to Mr. Shai, who was instrumental in that, as well as our city clerk, who I'm sure assisted in that grant proposal, which the council, of course, approved. So maybe in place of Mr. Jackson, would you like to announce the good news?
Oh, well, I know Devin Jackson wanted to be here. I'm not sure why he's not, but he wanted to explain the procedure going forward, how this was going to work out for us. But we applied. This is the third year that we applied for a Transportation Improvement Board street grant. And this year we were given $526,000 for our downtown stretch there by the post office down to Worden Park for new roads, sidewalks, lighting. And so hopefully we'll be, I know that in this package here we have an an agreement with the TIB to approve tonight. And then after that we will have to start process of selecting an engineering firm. And if it all goes well and we're on the ball with it, we could have construction this summer. So.
Wow. Now, that is worth it. That represents the largest single street improvement grant, as far as I know, in the history of the city of Vader. Admittedly, it would be nice, I think, if we could get our hands personally on that $500,000, we could probably pay most of the city, but
Yes.
that grant is dedicated to those two lengthy blocks, and we will take it. And be grateful for it.
Can we have gold lines?
Yes. It will be beautiful.
I'm sure it will be magnificent. It will be the jewel of the city of Vader. So hopefully it will contribute to an elevated perception of the community and maybe stimulate some economic growth in the community. Not to mention how it will improve the appearance of the park, the lighting and so forth.
And the sidewalk will be extended down to the park.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. It'll be a sight to see, part of the community. So thank all who had a contributory hand in that successful grant acquisition. All right, well, let's proceed expeditiously forward with public comment. Do we have any?
No, we don't have anybody on it right now.
Okay. We'll speed forward then. Let's proceed with our city business. Item number 1 is a public hearing relating to the final budget draft for 2017. It's standard operating procedure required to have such things. So I would again defer to the will of the council to decide how long that you would like this public hearing to be. You have that discretionary power and authority. Given the vast throngs who are present with us, I hope that would impact your decision.
Are you going to speak?
No, I always can if you'd like me to. What subject are these particular subjects?
The budget. It has to be about the city budget.
Whatever council will do to make it happy.
Yeah, we do need a motion, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing at 6:20
Okay.
for 1 minute and close it at 6:21.
Okay, you've heard a motion to open a public hearing related to the topic on the agenda and to conclude that public hearing at 6:21. So do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we've had a quick second. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, then I'll declare this public hearing opened at 6:20.
It's half over.
We'll slop over a bit. Wasn't festive. Okay, well, I would invite anybody in the public who would like to make any comment on the budget to feel free.
Oh, wait. I'll go sit over there.
Is the budget,
Out of order.
excuse
Yeah.
me, sir, Is the budget in general what we're discussing, or the budget in a particular part of the budget?
Budget in general. You can make any observation or comment on it. You don't.
Penny saved is penny earned. Let that be your motto. Okay.
Wisdom. Yeah.
The only thing I'm against the final budget document is the tax that we increased.
Yeah, well, that's well and good, but it's the public's meeting, and so it's really not council's need at this moment, because item number 2 will allow council conversation. I note that it's now 75 seconds in, so absent any other observation from the public, I would declare this public hearing closed at officially 6:21 and a half minutes after 6. Thank you for that. Item number 2, council will now engage in a discussion of the 2017 final budget draft, which I hope that now you would engage in conversation which might allow you to discuss any final concerns or suggestions that you might have regarding the budget. So now, Mr. Wilson, is your chance. Yes,
like to say
please
something.
proceed.
So I've gone over the budget several times. Jill knows this.
Yes,
And
thank you.
I've gone over it again today, and I'm impressed, and I'm happy.
Well, thank you. And that's, and thank you for taking the time to go over it and do it. And I know you've contributed in the last month with very timely observations. So thank you.
Trying to find that page.
Okay.
So you were quick to add in the TIB stuff as well.
Threw that in, get it covered.
Bang.
Yep, you got it in. Okay. Any other observations from council members? Because our next meeting next week will be our final meeting, at which time we would approve the official budget, unless I'm mistaken on that.
No, that should be correct.
Okay. So you would have more opportunities in our next meeting to make observations.
However, it would be
Yeah.
beneficial if there were any changes to do them this week,
No.
so we can have it ready to be approved at the next meeting.
Mhm.
Thank you, Jill.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Parsons, did you have any observation you want to share in public?
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Okay. Ms. Wilson, you are satisfied with the exception of the increase in the property tax? Okay. Duly noted for the public record. Well, then, inasmuch as it's my responsibility to ensure that we proceed through our agenda in an efficient manner, I would suggest that we proceed to item number 3 on the agenda, which is council consideration of resolution 21-2016 TIB grant agreement. So, if I'm not mistaken, this is the council's opportunity to express their formal acceptance of the grant. And it should be in your packet, I believe. And we'll wait council action. Okay, so,
Well, I'll make the
I
motion.
hate to elbow respected.
I am excited about it. I move to approve Resolution 21-2016, authorizing the mayor to execute the grant agreement with the Washington Transportation Infrastructure Board in the amount of $523,833, as stated substantially in the grant agreement attached to the resolution as Exhibit A.
You've heard the council, the motion submitted by Mr. Shy to approve Resolution 21-2016.
I'll
That's right.
second that.
And seconded by Mr. Parsons. Is there any additional comment or observation?
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, with that, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Now, council will consider Resolution 22-2016, which is the interlocal agreement for fire inspection services. And I know that has been a burning topic for the city of Vader for the past several months. I'm quite pleased that we're poised to deal with that issue. So we did get what we
I have
needed.
not received the actual signed copy. I've just received email verification that they are signing it and sending it to us, and that they've approved the
Yeah.
draft. And so, still waiting for it to come, but this is the version that they've approved. So, council could wait if they want to wait
Yeah.
until they get an actual. Normally, we would wait until we get an actual signed document, but I was anticipating it would be here by now, and it isn't here
Frankly,
yet.
that
So,
was two, and
I
so,
will make a motion that we wait till we receive it.
okay, and thank you for that insightful motion. You've heard a motion submitted by Ms. Creer that we postpone action on this particular agenda item, Resolution 22-2016, until such time that we get the formal documents that we're awaiting from the fire district. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Parsons. Any additional thoughts?
I was relieved when I saw the hourly rate that they were going to charge. I was expecting something horrific,
Yeah,
and I
Okay.
thought that was a lot.
That's good.
I thought that was
reasonable.
acceptable, yeah. Considering how many we have, how often we'll use this service, that's
Mhm.
pretty low rate.
Agreed. Okay, well then, any other thoughts or
Do
comments?
you have a
Yes,
question?
yes.
So on page 6, 4.4, says that we have a fire marshal. We have our own fire marshal,
yes, we do.
and he's certified. Okay.
Mhm.
And then on the same page, 5.2, it says that, Vader personnel will assist. Who will be assisting?
My understanding is that it would be at the request of the fire investigator if they have any information that's needed or background or owner's information. I don't know what they would ask for from us, but I think it's just stating that we
So
will
they're not asking for one of you to go onto the scene and...
Right, just
Just wanted
if
to clarify
they
that.
needed any
That's a good question.
assistance in any way from the city, that we would work cooperatively with them
Okay.
and provide whatever they need.
And then my other question, which I did not find in here anywhere after reading it, I'll put this away. I want to know is, so as a firefighter, so now I'm speaking as a firefighter, if I can do that for just a second, and we're on scene, we're gonna be able to just request them without
No.
getting we have to get approval from you guys. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the issues that this was meant to resolve.
And I'd have to read it again to remember who is able to authorize that, whether it's the mayor or the building official, or the, not building official, but the fire, marshal, I can't remember, but yes, that was one of the things that we requested to be in here, was that we would know and have the authority to.
So, I might need to excuse myself from this one. So then my understanding, so we're on the fire, we have to contact the mayor to get approval to, so we have to stop doing what we're doing instead of just radioing to dispatch like we normally do.
I believe that is correct. We can double check on it, but I believe that that is correct.
Okay.
But we should look into that and try to confirm, get an answer definitively for you. But I would have no qualms about acting in that capacity.
This is so hard for me to be on both sides here,
For sure.
because we never have had to stop and ask
Right.
permission or get somebody else involved. No other districts do either. They just automatically call 911 dispatch on the radio and ask for the fire investigator to come out if we feel that it's necessary, if we have suspicions or so. If you could clarify that, that would be awesome.
And to be sensitive to your concerns, I think if there's a means by which we can articulate that, so that we don't create another contact level that would be create a barrier or make more difficult your job. I'm not opposed to seeing if we can insert some verbiage.
Whatever you guys want.
Yeah. So let's explore that prior to, and have perhaps a strategy to overcome that potential problem by our next council meeting. How about that?
Thanks for that insight, Ruth.
Yeah.
That's,
Would that go in this particular document? I don't think the Chehalis Fire Investigation Services, that's not, that would be more of an agreement between us and,
No,
in here?
yeah, it is in here, because I remember talking about it with the attorney. Where exactly
I
it
think
is.
it's on page 6, if I'm not mistaken. The responsibilities of Vader.
4.4?
Well, I was thinking it was 5.1.
This is Vader at its option may request. Yeah, it's 4.4. It says Vader will make the request.
Vader at its option may request, and upon receiving such request, Chehalis shall provide fire and life safety inspection and safety service programs to Vader citizens. Because the agreement is between the Chehalis Fire Department Investigative Services and the City of Vader, not Lewis County Fire District.
I get that.
And so that is why it needs to, the city has to authorize the expenditure. Basically, we have to request the services in order for it to fall under the interlocal and for us to pay. That's kind of the problem that we had with the previous one, which kind of instigated this whole thing a couple of years ago, was that we just got a bill in the mail and we had no clue what had happened. And so we weren't involved at all yet. We were being asked to pay. And so, although I understand that that may have been the way that it's been done, there was also a misunderstanding that the county building official was providing fire investigation service, and they weren't.
No, we've always called.
So, right, but without getting into too much detail about all of it, the reason they did that was because the Lewis County Fire understood that we had our building official services through the county. The county hires Chehalis for their fire investigation, and they assumed that that was included in our agreement with the county as well, and it wasn't. And so we've been acting under misinformation all this time, and acting in a way assuming that we had, when we had the building official through the county, that we also had fire investigation service, and we didn't. And so when we realized that, when we went in and we said, wow, we're not even supposed to be doing it this way, we don't have all of our ducks in the proper row. And so that's why we have to do our own, because we didn't have an agreement for fire investigation services through the county, which the county fire department thought we did. And we probably, the people here probably thought we did too, but nobody really went back and checked. And when we went back to check and see, we found that that wasn't the case. We did not have that agreement with them. So technically there was not ever an agreement in place, at least since I believe it was 1999 when that building official agreement was signed. So it has to go through a process where at least the city is supposed to, in order, as far as what we're allowed to pay for, we have to be requesting the service. Now, whether we can include it in here somehow that we can authorize a member of the fire district to make that call, that may be a possibility. That would be up to council. And
I just have some concerns because, well, if you're not here, or if, 2 o'clock in the morning you want us to be calling you, I mean, then you're gonna come down. I mean, that just, we should be able to just do our job, we're not gonna be trying to charge the city, get the fire investigator all the time out there just so the city has to pay for all, we just have certain times that we know that we have to have the fire investigator. And so many houses burned down.
Doesn't 5.1 give some sense of authorization, unless I misunderstand that particular phrase? Vader shall grant to Chehalis Fire Department personnel assigned to provide fire investigator services the authority to enforce the provisions of Chapter 43 RCW and associated Vader fire investigator duties pertaining to civil and criminal fire investigation. Does that not imply that if there is a necessary fire investigation, that Chehalis Fire Department personnel have the granted authority to assist?
Goes the ball.
Am I mistaken?
I don't know. We'd have to ask somebody more knowledgeable than me.
Okay. Well, with respect to your request, I think that we will do the research to provide a better answer to your concerns. Embracing the reality of your concerns. Certainly not offended by it, and think it's only appropriate. Now, we did have a comment from the public. Would the council care to? Yes.
I don't know if I understand this problem, but couldn't the mayor authorize the senior person on duty in the volunteer fire department to make that decision in place of, in lieu of you coming out at 2 in the morning, or if you're not here, just authorize them that this is the acting person has authority to authorize that investigation. I don't know how office happens, but anyway, but rather than stepping on toes here, back to do it, and then
impeding their.
it could be in writing that they're.
I mean, I'm not trying to be difficult, but I work on
Trying to
my
be
side.
logical.
Too.
You have a responsibility to respond rapidly. It's the nature of firefighting. You don't need to create another bureaucratic layer that would impede your ability to perform.
Can I ask a question? the fire investigation service, does that usually have to happen, doesn't that have to wait until after the fire is out?
Correct.
Okay,
But we usually are on scene still, because
Right.
they have to have our report, they have to talk to us.
uh-huh,
So we stay there. We usually call them when we
okay,
have the fire out, and they come. We make contact with them. Sometimes we watch them do their thing or
Okay.
assist them.
okay.
So,
In a worst case scenario, there might be somebody who's been injured or they're lost their life. And I think that the timeline is,
and we prefer to do it the same time, you know,
Mhm.
instead of somebody trampling through,
Mhm.
you know, you don't wanna call the fire investigator the next day when some kids have already been through it or,
Right,
you
yeah,
know.
okay. And I'm sorry, I kind of had a second part to that question. Do you know how it's determined when the fire investigator is, when it's triggered that you need an investigation? Or whenever there's a fire, is there always an investigation?
Not all fires. Like, we had a barn fire not that long ago, we didn't call for, it's mainly homes,
Mhm.
and it just depends if it's a total loss, or if it's just, you know, if it's a kitchen stove, I'm not calling for a fire investigator,
Mhm.
you know.
Okay,
We called for one over here,
but somewhere there's probably a criteria
correct.
that sets, so maybe that would be part of this
Let's
as
have
well
the
for us to
criteria.
understand when, the thing I'm concerned about is how do you budget for this? You know, how do you budget for, you just never know,
yeah.
and how do you,
Hmm.
We can go all year without a fire, a
Yeah.
structure fire here.
and then you can have three in a month, who knows?
Yeah.
But,
Right.
yeah,
So I guess, you know,
Tricky.
at $135, the 2 hour, you know, max, you just maybe budget.
well, but that's not the bill we got $6,000 bill. And $6,000 is a lot, as you guys know, to our budget, and to have $6,000 come up when you aren't expecting it, that's big.
But is it not my understanding that it's gonna be $135?
Generally, how long are
That's the
they out
same-
there when they're doing an investigation?
That's the same rate that they charged us. This is the same rate that they charged us for that investigation.
That's a week and a half, someone.
But it might not all just be hourly. They also charge for any costs and any of the stuff, if they have to bring someone to shore up the building so they can safely go into the building to do their investigation, there's other costs involved as well, that it's not just an hourly cost. So I think I still have the copies of those bills that I could show you what some of those costs were, but
It would make sense to me that perhaps if we could analyze these expenses over the last 10 years, for example, come out with a rough guesstimate of what one might budget for such a thing, and perhaps we could consider that in this conversation too. If it was 6,000 by 10, maybe $600 per year, and hope for 10 years we don't have some.
then you'd have to save it up every year so
Yes.
that when it does,
Accrue.
most of the time, the insurance covers it, but in this instance, they didn't have insurance that covered it. So I don't know if they didn't have insurance, I can't remember, or if the insurance just didn't cover it. And so then, normally, the fire department just would handle that bill because they would just give it to the insurance company and the insurance company would pay them. Well, this time, the insurance company didn't pay, and so that's when we ended up with the bill and we're saying, whoa, wait a minute, you know, we'd never seen, had no clue that that was even a possibility. And so that's when this whole thing started, was 2 years ago with that. So in any event, like I said, normally it's covered by insurance, but once in a while,
This might have
It's
been
not.
just one in a 50-year event. And did you ever have a situation like that when you were mayor? An unexpected fire investigation bill?
Well, I had one, that's when they burnt down my store. But the state fire marshal and the fire marshal from Lewis County came out and investigated. I wasn't still in Pearl Harbor reunion when we got back, and then they come to the house. And they went through the whole thing, and that was the two of them only.
Okay. But it didn't result in a bill to the city for
No.
them. Okay, so-
your insurance probably covered it. Most insurance does, but not everybody has them.
What,
So-
my insurance wasn't involved in it. It was the people that owned the store, that bought the store from me.
Oh, okay.
Well, so that would take us back 25 years.
Yeah.
So, this piece of paper may sit around for 25 years before we have to apply it, but at least we'll have something finally. And once again, it's evidence that we're dragging the city into the 21st century.
In my day, I never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah. Yeah, we're past the days of just being able to have common sense now. You have to be wrapped up in 8 pounds of paper, so.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Well, the 20 years I was on the fire department, it normally was the Lewis County Fire Marshal. I'm trying to think of his name now, but I can't, forgot.
Yeah.
And he was the one that would come out here and do the, if he needed to.
Mhm. Okay, well, thank you for that. I think that we've reached an agreement that council would like us to engage in some clarifying research and bring that to our next council meeting.
We have a motion on the table. This is the discussion
Okay,
That
thank you for
motion to-
reminding me. Yeah, I've lost track of the motion that
to
had been
postpone
submitted.
the action.
Right, and
so-
this was your discussion on it. So I guess we should vote on the motion to postpone this until next meeting. Any further thoughts? Okay, now let's put it to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, and we will deal with this next week. Oh, that's only 7 days from today.
We'll do our best.
Okay, we'll do our best. Okay. Item number 5. Council to consider project completion for 2016 chip seal project. This is just standard operating procedure. We need to legalize this document for our,
It's not a, there's not a document to legalize, it's just, we just need council to say the project is done. We just never officially did a motion saying that the project's done.
okay, well, it has been done, and so,
We can't
Could
get
we-
our money until council does a motion.
I make a motion. Let's get our money real quick. I move to approve completion of the scope of work for the contract between the City of Vader and Lewis County Public Works for the 2016 chip seal project of various city streets within the Vader city limits.
okay, we've heard the motion stated by Mr. Shy, as read.
I would second it.
Seconded, I think Mr. Greer was fast. Okay, and seconded by Mrs. Greer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Excellent, that motion is carried.
That was more TIB money, by the way, that we had gotten.
Yeah, it was. Tell you, what a treasure that has been.
Getting our gas tax back is what we're doing.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, this is our last agenda item.
No,
What?
get copy yellow, look at the yellow copy, remember the amended copy?
Second to the last.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. Okay. Thank you for catching me on that.
I tried making a different color so you wouldn't lose track, but it didn't work. I tried to
Just-
make it pink.
Drifted.
Wrong color.
I lost it earlier. I didn't even see it.
All right, well then, second to the last. Council to consider the project completion for the 10th Street asphalt overlay project.
This is exactly the same process as the one we just did. It's the exact same reason.
Although I know that there was some concern about whether or not we would go back and get them to.
They did.
They did.
They did the driveways. However, is the city going to raise the water?
Yes, we're working with the water system to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what council agreed to do at the meeting, was we'd ask North Fork to do the driveways and then we would take care of the water pipe thing issue.
Yeah,
So-
I was out of town for 2 weeks and I drove on it yesterday, but didn't notice that they'd fixed that. That's good response from
They
them.
did everything that we asked them to do when we called them back. so.
Okay, thank you for that. Well then, I would await a motion on this. No.
I'll do it again. I move to approve completion of the scope of work for the contract between the City of Vader and North Fork Asphalt Paving Incorporated, and direct the city clerk to notify the necessary state agencies of such approval.
I would second it.
All right, Mr. Shy submitted the motion as noted, and Mr. Wilson very quickly seconded it. Any additional thoughts?
Just the water, those water
Any time frame?
buckets.
I haven't been able to get anyone from the water department to call me back yet. So
Okay.
I've sent out requests and tell them what we need and that we want to do that, and we just need some direction from them, and
Okay.
it's not high on their priority list right now. I guess they're
Well,
not contacting us, so.
Rather than hold up the payment to North Fork, knowing the value of that relationship, can I give my mayoral assurances that we will follow up with that and ensure that it be completed and done?
That's not a North Fork issue.
Yeah, it's not a North Fork.
Well, yeah, but I think it would, it's a
Part of
concern by
part of
the
the
member of
project,
council.
but not part of their.
And so it would be only appropriate to approve this. But we will follow up on that. So, any other thoughts, concerns? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay. Well then, now the council will consider the last proposal for prosecuting attorney services.
I've read this over, and we had Hillier and Freymire here as our city attorney a long time ago, and I also know with them for other various projects that they've done to the city. And so I'm gonna make a motion that we recommend Hillier and Freymire for this prosecution litigation service proposal.
Okay. Well, thank you for that rapid action. You've heard the motion submitted by Mr. Wilson to approve that the acceptance of the Schreidmeyer law firm for prosecuting attorney services. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Shy. Now, is there thoughts or observations?
Yes, sorry.
Present.
So is this what you were talking about? So I would like,
Yeah.
if it's cheaper, I kind of like some more information about Jonathan doing this.
Yeah, I think that would be a different sort of topic.
Do you happen to know, Sergeant Geelan, if the Napavine, the work that they do for Napavine, does that include the prosecutor as well?
I think so, yes.
In the district court?
It's a whole package, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a whole package, okay.
Well,
At least that's what the sheriff relayed to me, was that
Okay.
he just made a proposal for the whole package for Navigant to pull away from Winlock Municipal and bring it all into the county district court.
I'm certainly going to defer to the will of the council. However, I do think that I would prefer to consummate this particular action because, in my experience, it's easy to say that Mr. Meyer would engage in those services, but it's another thing to expeditiously make it happen. Would you disagree with that? Because
Yeah.
cities are notoriously slow
Yes.
on this. And I, for one, have felt like this was the only law firm that responded to our request for services. And I highly respect, as Mr. Wilson does, the integrity of that law firm. Yes.
Something else that we could keep in mind is that what we need to be doing is working on a contract with the prosecutor, and we could make sure that the contract includes an opportunity for the city to, if we change direction and go with the district court or do something like that, that we can release the contract so that we're not bound and stuck there if we do some checking and find that we do want to go, do the county district court instead.
Would that satisfy the council members if we were to proceed with this to continue the timely action that would be anticipated for this and get that transition completed, keeping the door open for any subsequent future changes that might take place with Napavine and Winlaw? Did you include Toledo? Would that be
I think Toledo already does district court.
Toledo and Locker
Okay.
are now combined, yeah.
okay?
Oh.
So-
I'm sorry, just a clarification, and also the action tonight is just authorizing the mayor to work on a contract with them. It would still come to you guys again before it was finalized, so there still would be another opportunity to say no after what we found out so far, we don't want to, or
Mhm.
yes, we want to continue. So again, this isn't a final decision tonight, this is just saying, yes, this is acceptable, let's move forward with these guys and see what we can do.
And I would insert, in addition to that, just for everyone's edification, it's not the first time that we've considered using the services of Jonathan Meyer and or his predecessors, and invariably we've discovered that it's not cheaper to go that route, which is why we currently are engaged in this municipal court system. So thank you for clarifying that.
And you said Napavine just went with them?
He made a proposal, I
Study.
think it's just like what you guys are saying, a proposal.
Yeah.
So he made a proposal.
So I would, did we have a motion? Okay, and we're discussing the motion. Any other thoughts or observations?
I'd still like to know more information about
Okay.
Jonathan's proposal.
Really noted? Mhm.
But today's
Well, they
motion
haven't
is
made-
just.
They haven't
No.
made a proposal. The district court hasn't made a proposal to us. We haven't asked them to. It's just, we could.
But we could be aware of, I think, sensitively speaking, we could reach out and find out what he might want to say.
I would like that.
Okay. All right, but that would not defer action on this motion.
And it will likely be January before we could get anything together for council to, a contract together anyways. So that gives us some time to talk to the district court as well.
Okay. Hope that eases concerns on all parts, because I think at this moment it would be appropriate to put the matter to a vote. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
I know everybody's looking at me because I have a question real quick, sorry. So we're just considering this. You're gonna talk to them and see what their proposal
We'll
is?
research
Okay,
it.
fine.
And we'll formulate a contract for future.
Be right here to consider the proposal.
I got it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's one more time on that vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, were there any opposed? Okay, well, thank you. It was unanimous then, and that motion carries. I'd like to add, as part of item number 7, that all of this applies to the budget, and I'm saying that as a matter of public record because I forgot to mention in the mayor's report that we had the exit conference for the Washington State Auditor's Office, and I would be remiss if we didn't bring to the public's attention that that exit conference was succinct, brief, concise, and they made it clear to us that there were no findings of official note, and that they were very impressed, or would I say, be accurate in saying that word, with the competency of our city clerk and her deputy clerk, and that all appears to be well within the guidelines of the State Auditor's Office. So
And they like coming here.
they enjoy actually coming to the city of
There's
Bates.
fudge back there.
Yeah.
It's the fudge. Good job.
They said we are organized and we're pleasant and were easy to work with, and that was great to hear, so I'm just gonna toot that little horn.
Good job.
Because
That was, once in a while, I get somebody who likes what we do in the office.
And so, thank you, yes.
I'd like to thank all the citizens of Vader for coming to the council meeting.
Yes, one concerns, thank you for that. All right. On that note, may we enjoy the holiday season, and we'll adjourn this meeting effective 7 p.m. And we will reconvene in 1 week from tonight, our final meeting of the year.